Good morning. Welcome to Wairarapa Women's Centre's Inspiring Women. This is our first program for today, and it's really great to be able to be here. And we'd like to thank our sponsor, Vicky Simpson from Professional Real Estate. It's really great to be able to have the opportunity to bring out this to the community. The Women's Centre are actually about empowering women for empowering the communities and their families. So it's a great opportunity to do this. With Vicky being our sponsor, we would also like you to make you aware that to go to her Facebook page and her website to see what open homes are on this weekend. I'm actually dressed by Dress for Success, thanks to Mel. I had a great dressing down there the other day. For those that might have seen it on Facebook, thanks for voting for this outfit. You're the one that's dressed me today. Thank you very much. I'd like to introduce our current president. Frances was elected as our president in Thursday last week, so she's just new, even though she's been in the role before. Welcome, Frances.
Yeah, kia ora Kim and kia ora koutou to everybody out there. Ko Frances Durnley-Aho. I'm taken on the, I prefer to call it chairperson.
Chairperson.
President sounds more like a certain gentleman, should we not mention. So
no, you don't have the Trump here at all.
And Dress for Success has done a lovely job dressing you. That is gorgeous.
It was really great because the styles that Mel actually set up for me didn't suit at all. So it's actually interesting that seeing the different styles and how it suited the body.
Yes.
I had lots of fun. In fact, we actually probably went overtime down there the other day. We had lots of fun. Mel's such a inspiring person because she's very quiet and she looks at you and then you see the face and she's like, let's just try something else. So it was a good opportunity and it's a good learning curve to see what your body actually suits actually.
Yeah, and really good help if you suddenly have a job interview and don't have the outfit for it, that they will provide the outfit.
Yeah, it's great. So we actually refer to them. So anybody that's actually looking at going to a job interview. So we've actually had our youth buddy recently, Marina, you've probably seen in the paper, go for styling. We've seen quite a few of our women that are looking. If anybody comes in, they automatically get referred through. So, it's a great resource to have in our community. I've worked with Dress for Success right back when I was working at the YMCA, referring students through. So I'm really pleased to have this in the community. I'm really pleased to support it.
That's great, isn't it? And it's not costly for women, so you don't have to fork out a fortune for an outfit for an interview.
Exactly. You walk away with an outfit for an interview, so that's just fantastic.
Yeah.
And also, Professional Real Estate is actually a drop-off centre for any donations of clothing for Dress for Success. So if you've got clothes sitting in the wardrobe and you're thinking, what can I do for this? Well, then take it into Professionals or drop it into Dress for Success at Community Centre and give it to people that actually are looking at being able to get out and get job interviews. And then, of course, I've got that outfit for when they actually go start work as well, because once they get a job, they go for another styling and they walk up with more clothes for their job as well. So
it's fantastic, isn't it?
It's
fantastic
a good opportunity.
Service. Yeah.
So thanks to Dress for Success, we're having a great time and trying different dresses on. It's like Christmas time, really. So, Frances, what brings you to the community of the Women's Centre?
Now I've been involved with the Women's Centre peripherally for quite some time through my work, referring women to courses that have been on, attending, different sessions. There's just been so much over the years, but at the moment you've got some lovely, fantastic courses going for women that are great to refer to, especially if people are looking for social contacts or to find out what's on in the community. It's a good way to make contacts. And I just believe in what the Women's Centre's doing, that the building of strength for our women builds strength for our whole community.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely does. And the thing is that the Women's Centre are based at the community centre, so we've got contacts in there straight away with connecting communities. You've got autism, your LDSA, which is a Learning Disability Association. So, we're sitting in the right situation to be able to do that.
And if anyone's new to the community, what a great way to get to know some people. Come along help out with the cooking or help out, with the community meals.
Exactly. The community kitchen is actually a very popular one.
Yes.
Yeah, we've got another one coming up in October, and you're our leading lady from last year who you and Suzanne met on that day, and you could just see on how much you two are both enjoying it with that photo. It's just really fantastic. You're on the front of our brochure, so you're our pin-up girl of our brochure.
How lovely. I mean, it's a lovely way to meet other women, and you just get chatting as you're helping with the meals. It's just a lovely, casual, simple way to meet people.
I think it's also a good way of giving back to the community as well.
Yes.
It's a really good way that, last time for 2 hours we went in and we did apricot chicken, and 2 hours later we walked out and 43 meals were done. So it's a great way. It was a great team of people that had never met each other before, worked together as a team, had a good old chat, good catch up between each other as far as what work situations and that they're in. And we've had people from teachers to retail to just mums at home wanting to give back to the community.
And there's been men involved too. I've seen quite a few men involved as well.
Yes. I know my son's one, he's 13 and a half, and he just loves going to them because, we're trying to install into him that it's important to give back to your community. It's not about, teenagers nowadays is about taking, it's about the top label. Well, it's actually not about that. Life is actually, you've got to work hard, and the ones that are working hard in poverty, trying to meet that dollar line, it is good to be able to give back to them. So what do you get from the Women's Centre?
I guess it's, again, that giving back, feeling that you're part of a community that's fantastic women, actually, and across all sorts of different walks of life. And just that feeling of being involved in something that does give back to the community. I mean, that's good for my own self-esteem, my own feelings of worth. So I think you get more from giving than you do from taking.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I think it's important too is that we also, with us being in social services, we see the family that those meals go out to. We're delivering those meals. We're also seeing how much those people appreciate those meals. So it's really good. They're not meals that are just taken, and it's always so thankful for those meals when you're given them. So when they actually get meals, they often get a bag of meals that would do them a couple of days. So that's really important to a family that's on that struggling line.
And all sorts of different situations with family members in hospital, all sorts of things that supports. Yeah, but the Women's Centre generally is involved so widely in the community, and I think that's really, really important. And I sort of value that.
Good. That's really good. We look at different things that we're doing, and we were doing last year the big bake-offs, and unfortunately this year we haven't done as many, but being able to give biscuits back to the food bank. Now, you yourself are involved in the food bank.
Yes, and I remember seeing that baking coming through, actually, and comments about how lovely it was. Having that baking coming in that went out in Christmas parcels, I think, more than anything, wasn't it?
Yes.
No, that was certainly valuable. Yeah,
it's just sometimes a lot of people think, the food bank's always asking, but when you see the number of meals that they give out, even with the community centre, the last figures that Bev gave out, there was something like over 400 meals in 1 month go out. So that's an amazing amount of demand actually on resources. They use Why Waste, they get sponsorship in of different bits and pieces. So it's really important that there's actually sponsorship. Yourself, you're involved with Why Waste as well. Those things coming back into an area that's needed in the community where one time it used to go in a rubbish bin.
And I think we're doing now, through those sorts of things that would have been done naturally among families years ago, that sense of community again, that modern life is sort of split up. But this is a way of that community, all those communities, the food bank, Why Waste, the community meals, all working together to provide something for people in our community.
It's a brilliant service.
Yeah.
It's a service I know we call on quite a bit for the Women's Centre. And it's always good to actually thank the volunteers, because they are volunteers that run the food bank.
Yes.
Lynn's the only one that gets paid down there. She's always bright and cheery and always busy, but she also gives a lot of volunteer time back to the...
Yes, she does.
You know, it's just amazing on how much people get paid a small amount, but volunteer back into the community as much as they get paid for.
Oh, more than enough. Yeah. No, definitely. And people who have a little bit of extra time for whatever reason and give that back to the community through food bank and through collection for Y waste as well, actually. It's totally reliant on volunteers.
Yeah, I've actually said to Lynn I'm going to volunteer and actually do it through our Facebook page, the Women's Centre's Facebook page.
Okay.
Do a day at the food bank and then go out with Y Waste with Elise as well.
Yes.
So that it's good to record what is actually going on out
Yes.
there. It's actually really nice now seeing people say, oh, there's actually fresh vegetables actually in the parcels now. You know, a lot of the times it was just rice and tomatoes and bits and pieces, but now it's actually a lot more involved as well, so it's really good to see.
We've also had things like the schools have done a fantastic collection recently, which has boosted food banks shelving, which is absolutely amazing, and what a lovely thing for students to learn that they are giving back to their community.
Exactly, and I think, you know, there's been a couple this year and at Chanel already where my son goes to, and it's giving the kids that feeling once again of giving back to the community is really important.
Yeah, and that they're part of a wider community, not just an isolated group.
Exactly, and that's really good. I think it also makes you aware, you know, when you go to a supermarket, you know, the bins for the food bank are there,
Yes.
is actually drop in a tin and just watch people watch you and they're like, oh, what's she doing?
Yes.
It's like, you know, it's so easy just to buy another tin of spaghetti if it's on special or something like that and drop it into those bins. You know, quite often on our Facebook page I'll put, remember guys, there's the food bank containers at the supermarkets that you can give to as well. So it's a really good way of giving back.
Yeah.
So, you know, at the end of the day, well-being is actually a big thing in our community. Poverty is getting bigger throughout New Zealand, throughout the world. And it's organisations like this that we collaborate with, which are really, really important to support. You know, Community Kitchen, we've got another cook-off again in October, so look on our Facebook. We do have a lot of people already starting to look at what they want to do. We've had businesses contact us. They're going to come in and do it as a group, so that's really awesome.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It
Really
is amazing
fantastic.
that businesses are wanting to get involved as well. So, you know, there is the social sector that's working really hard, but there's also the businesses in town. It's good to see them come together and work together. That's really awesome. Francis, we're just going to take a break and listen to some music. So here's some music now.
Whakarongo mai ke koe ki no, I've muddled it up. Ki te whakarongo mai koe ki Arrow FM. You're listening to Arrow FM. That was my muddled attempt. We are in Māori Language Week. So, very
well
important
done.
week.
I actually very proud of you because even I can't speak Maori, so I've had a bad experience with Maori with a teacher that absolutely hated us speaking Maori.
Really?
So it's good on you for trying. Well done.
Yeah, I know a little, but I'd love to get right back in and get much more confident again. Because it's a beautiful language
coming up. So I know at Repass there's quite a few coming up. I was going to do one last year, but it clashed unfortunately with some other training that I'm doing. So
yes, I couldn't get to them either. But yes, definitely have to try to do that again. It's beautiful language, and I love the way things are put actually, which are very meaningful.
I know recently there was quad tournament at Chanel College and they welcomed their teams in from the other three schools or other three colleges, and standing in the back of the hall with these kids doing the haka, welcoming these ones in, it just was spine tingling. Really is spine tingling. Quite often you just feel those tingles. You hear a lot of other cultures singing that, but the actual haka just is spine tingling, isn't it? It's great to actually have Maori in our school so much. It's just really fantastic to see our kids now actually able to learn Maori, because I was in this era where you were able to and then you weren't allowed to. So it's actually really important that we know our culture.
Well, also, it's an official language of New Zealand. We should know it as much as English, actually. And I think kids benefit from being bilingual. We can't lose out by gaining something like that
exactly
in our lives.
Yeah, no, it's good. So I'm just going to give you a bit about what's going on in the Wairarapa Women's Centre. So in November, we've got our Valentine's fashion show. Now, Frances, you were a model last year for us.
Yes.
And you really enjoyed your time.
Oh, it was fun. It was fun, actually. It was nerve-wracking to begin with, but once you get started, you just get into the role and carry on. And the outfits they have are just gorgeous. They also put clothes together beautifully. They
do. They're amazing. Last year I wore 6 different outfits, and each outfit went with a pink jacket.
Yes.
And every outfit was different colours. Now they put me in green. I've never worn green before.
Haven't you?
I've never worn. I've always been the blue, the reds. So to actually go to that, and it's encouraged me to wear more pink.
Yes.
Which is actually amazing, just going through a situation like that. And it gives you a different idea on your body and what actually makes your body look really good.
Yes, yeah. And they're very, very good at picking. I know I took people with me last time, and I think each of them ended up buying something because they had a wedding to go to or something to go to, and there was the perfect thing that came out. So, yeah.
Karen and the team down there are fantastic. They're always friendly when you walk in. It's great customer service down there, and it's really good. I actually modelled last year, but this year we've got something a bit different. We've got models coming from social services within the Wairarapa. So it's a good opportunity to be able to promote the social services as well as actually the Women's Centre, because we are part of the big group that do the wraparound service for wellbeing in the Wairarapa. And it's a good opportunity to show some of the collaborations that we've worked on during the last 12 months, 18 months. So we've got different ones coming from social services. So check out on our Facebook. This event will be going up in the next couple of weeks. It's $10 a ticket, and it's a great night. You get supper, you get a drink, and you get to enjoy ladies strutting their stuff, and it gives you an insight on what you can get for your wardrobe this summer.
You end up with a little gift bag, actually.
Yes, there's actually a discount of what you want to buy at the end of it, and that's really, really nice.
Yes.
It's really great. Thanks to Karen and the team at Valentine's for giving us this opportunity.
It's a great promotion, a fantastic way of fundraising, and they do it really well.
Yeah, it is. So remember that, folks. Our tickets will be going on sale very soon. It will be coming up on Facebook, and we'll also have tickets on sale at the community centre as well. So you can call and see Bev and the team down there as well. So Frances, we're going to get back to you. What what do you give to other individuals with your work currently? You've been a social worker. You've been
Yes.
a mainstay in the social work with young families.
Yeah, many years as a social worker, although I never intended to be in that role, but that's where I ended up, and I absolutely loved it, and I love the people I work with. They're great people, lovely families, struggling sometimes, but absolutely, they got there, and they're good people. What do I bring? I think I got more out of it than I gave, personally. I met some lovely families that I wouldn't have met otherwise, and my role was really connecting people with the services that they need, and that included the Women's Centre, amongst others. Education, but parent education was a large part of the role, and that's part I thoroughly enjoyed as well. And that also involved connecting people, because we would bring members from the community into that, depending on the group needs. What do I give? I hope I listen well.
You are a good listener. You do. You listen very well. And what I like about you, I was watching the other day in an interview, and you listen and then you feed back to people, so they're actually getting that feeling, you're understanding, you're listening, which is really a really good skill to have.
Yeah, because my situation may not be their situation, but when you listen, you find out some of the underlying stuff that's needed, that comes up, and my job is to find out how I can work with that, and what I can do to support this person. So it's a support role, but it's also very rewarding for me.
That's good, because at the end of the day, you've got a very good record in Marsden. I've talked to different families that have said, Frances is calm, she's quiet, and she doesn't push things on. She talks us through it, which I think a lot of people expect people to come into social services and fix everything straight away. And, well-being in a family isn't going to get fixed straight away.
No.
It takes hard work, and it takes everybody to work with it.
And I mean, people's issues are completely different. They can be quite varied. So, it's finding out what those issues are and finding where. We've got a lot of good services here, but it's people don't necessarily know where they are or what they are either. And it might be wrong for that person.
It's been a big learning curve for me, because when I worked at the YMCA, I was doing student mentor, so we were working with different social services, and just 2 years off, and in that change around of a lot of counselling, support, everything like that, it's been a big change in the Wairarapa, and getting people referred to that. So the Women's Centre, they refer to a lot of organisations, but we're also checking that, are you attending? What did you get out of it? So it's what we call the wraparound service. If you're booked into a counsellor, they don't check that you're going anywhere else. And that's partially your role as a social worker as well, isn't it? It's making sure that they're attending appointments, that they're actually getting something. Does it fit for them?
And sometimes it's as simple as that they can't get to an appointment, so that our role is to get them there. Because you've got to take into consideration people's financial situation too. Or maybe they have a young child and it's pouring with rain and they can't get to somewhere because they have to walk and they don't want to take the baby out in the rain.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things, when people talk about poverty and everything like that, there's a lot of people out there that do a lot of walking in the community, that don't have vehicles, so it's a big thing. Getting to place A to B, especially when you've got a young child, is really hard. Getting a taxi with a child is really hard. It's also an additional cost, that they've got to try and work into a very tight budget already. So, it's really good. And I think these health service shuttles are really good as well. If they need to go to doctors, it's good to have those as well.
Yes, it is. And I think it's about people knowing about those things too. You don't necessarily know it exists unless you come to use it. It's one of those, you go to the doctors and there's always somebody being dropped off, so it's really fantastic. So what do you have that contributes to wellbeing? I like to try and keep myself well first, because if I'm not on top of things, I can't support someone else. So I guess for me it's about looking after me, making sure I can be useful to someone else, and knowing your own boundaries, I think. You know, there are some things I can't do. There's some things I'm not an expert on, and it's knowing that I can call on someone else who is an expert in that area and utilise their services.
I think that's where we're very lucky in the Wairarapa. We have community networks.
Yes.
So we can go to different, the Wairarapa is very unique with having 3 different community networks in 3 different areas. And Cara and her team do a fantastic job of keeping us informed of what's going on. But for those that don't know, community networks, if you read our midweek article next week, our youth buddy Marina has actually interviewed Cara and looked into what the community network offers to our community.
Great.
So take the opportunity of reading Marina's article next week. We're going to just take a few minutes and listen to some more music. We'll be back soon.
Hey,
welcome back to RFM, Te Reo Irirangi, or Wairarapa, Wairarapa's radio station.
Well done, thanks Francis. We've got an exciting time coming up at Christmas time at the Wairarapa Women's Centre. We've got Christmas icing nights, but we've made 2 different types of nights. So the first night's going to be working with fondant, so making nice little cutouts and playing around. But the second night's going to be a bit more of a challenge. Francis, I know you're not into icing yourself,
No.
and you're looking at me going, no, this is not my thing. So second night, which is in December, we're actually going to be doing, on the 12th of December, it's going to be mini Christmas cakes. So for those that actually do Christmas cakes as Christmas presents, I was just about ready to say birthday presents, it's actually an opportunity of getting the cake and cutting it up into 4 and putting more finer detail onto it. We're also going to get into doing some scroll work, which is actually quite a challenge, and it's going to be with the finer nozzles. So both of these are $40. You walk away with a Christmas cake, cut into 4 or 1. You get supplied the icing. All you need to do is supply a cake tin to take it home in, because that's important, so it doesn't get bumped and banged. A lot of people come in, they're like, oh, I forgot my cake tin, but that's really important because it actually seals that cake as well and lets it harden. And just a base that you buy from Uncle Bill's. So it's really fantastic. It's a good fun night. We have about 10 ladies along, and you'll learn how to do egg white icing, so that's actually really, it makes it go hard. So it's those ones where you know, in the old time Christmas cakes and wedding cakes, used to be those hard bits on the side you used to pick off and crunch.
Yes.
That's the sort of icing that we're going to be working with. So that's actually really good. In fact, our fondant night on the 27th of November is filling really fast. So if you want to be in these courses, we actually need to have you booking in fast now. Otherwise, there's a chance you'll miss out. It's going to be only 2 courses run this year.
And I've seen the patterns and designs you have for that. They look absolutely beautiful. And I really admire people who do icing, just not me.
I used to have a mother that used to do cake icing. So I can remember actually being the one actually needing that icing. You know, it's really important to need your fondant. And as a kid, I grew up needing all the fondant. So I know what it's like. And a lot of wedding cakes, and back in those days, they used to have the fine filigree work on it.
Yes, they did.
And, you know, I watch the Cake Boss and all those now and just am absolutely amazed on what they do. So I'm always learning. I've got a new task to learn. I've got a rose cutter that I need to start doing with gum paste. I've got a couple of cakes due next year. So my challenge is on to learn that. So thank heavens for YouTube. It's wonderful. So Francis, we're going to get back and talk about what's well-being for you.
Well-being, I guess it's feeling okay about yourself and your life, really. And sometimes things go wrong in our lives, and it's how we manage that and get ourselves back to a place where we feel okay again. And that can be quite hard. So
in our Seasons for Growth that we do through the colleges currently at the moment, we talk about change and how to accept change. And I think change and well-being go very closely together, that people, if they can accept change, actually accept some bad things that happen in their life and readjust and work together.
And I think that's it. It's being able to, I guess it's part of that resilience too, being able to find a way through the tough times.
Yes.
Know that it's temporary and you can get back to a good place. And I think people, especially women, older women, as your health starts to decline or your body doesn't do what it should do, that can be a bit tough too, because it might limit the exercise you can do, it might limit the activities you can do, and that can be quite hard too.
It limits actually your life extremely, because a lot of women live longer than men.
Yes.
And we've got a course, well, it's actually a support group. It's called Older Woman Network. It's called OWN. And it's where women come in on a Wednesday every fortnight, and they actually come and support each other through that journey of their life. And sometimes there can be a huge change for them to come in and actually accept the journey of life. You know, they may have lost their partner, moved on from their partner, those sorts of things. And there's a lot happening in their lives when they get to that stage. Children have moved on and got their own lives. So it's an opportunity of coming in. So check out our Facebook page for OWN. It's called Older Women's Network.
And that's women 50 plus?
50 plus.
Yes, so it's not, you don't have to be 84 to join. You can be anywhere from 50 onwards.
Exactly. And if you're a little bit under that 50 and still going through changes or need that support, you're still welcome. It's actually a really good chance to sit down and have a cup of coffee with somebody and actually just realise some of the issues that you're going through, somebody else is going through. And that makes that journey a lot lighter when you know you're not the only one. And this is what the thing is with wellbeing, is sometimes people feel they're the only ones going through the journey.
And I think there's a time of change when you get to retirement age. Do you retire? Do you not? Some people do, some people don't. But then your day actually changes too. Your routines change. So it's a matter of resetting the clock, I guess, and changing those routines, finding new routines.
And that's really important, is actually having routine in your day. It's an experience that everybody's going to go through. And, Frances, recently you've just been through that yourself, going from full-time work. And it makes a big change. And it's actually making sure that you look after yourself through that process.
Yeah. And for me, that was establishing new routines was my thing that keeps me, balanced, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I see you out walking quite a bit. So, it's about keeping your own well-being going. It's important when you're at work to look after your well-being, but it's also important when there's a change in life to look after your well-being, because, your mind can play games on you and you're like, wake up, I've got to go to work, where in fact, actually, no. It's actually you've actually got another routine to go to.
Certainly. And even within work, particularly jobs like social work, knowing when it's time to, have some times that are downtimes that are closed off from that work so that you can keep well enough to keep working, keep doing the job, putting up systems to keep you well.
Yeah, and mothers that are at work, and even the mothers that are actually at home might have 3 or 4 children. Yeah. And all it needs to take is one child is sick, and that whole routine can be changed for the day.
Certainly.
And it puts on new challenges, whether to get a child off to the doctor and you've got children to pick up from school at the same time. Everybody's routines is affected in different ways. I had a son off sick last week, so the whole routine was quite different.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, no, so it's a matter of what works for you and what's going to keep you well. And that's about knowing yourself and I guess recognising when you start to feel a bit stressed and what those signs are. And they can be physical or changes in what you do, and you'll start to know your own, as long as you know your own signs and symptoms and have things in place to counter that. Yeah,
it's really important to know. I've just been reading a book about well-being, because talking to so many women and they're like, what's well-being, is actually learning some breathing techniques, learning to be able to calm down and rethink and refocus is actually really important. The kids might be for 5 minutes screaming around the house while you're just refocusing, but sometimes you just need to do that for yourself to be able to carry on the day.
And there's physical reasons for that actually too. With the message the brain gets, when we get stressed, we breathe short and shallow, which tells the brain that there's danger, so it gets ready for fight and flight.
So that whole survival, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's called that survival.
And once you start calming and taking deep stomach breaths, that it tells the brain that, hey, I'm safe, so I can start to calm down now, and then you can start to think much more clearly. I notice they're doing yoga in schools with children now.
I think that's awesome.
It
is. It's really good
yeah.
to show our younger generation how to calm down, because a lot of our time we run. Every day we run. So it's important to take that time out and do that breathing exercise, change the effect the brain's having on you. And then, they always say, you get that customer when you're in customer service that snaps at you, they've had a really bad day. Just take that deep breathing, and you're not that customer. You're not going into that fight or flight situation. And, it's actually really good. There's a lot of articles on on Google that you can actually read about that, and actually understanding that sometimes it might help you with relationships, it might help you with a child that's actually, if a mother's uptight, a baby will follow and go uptight as well. So, it's all these different situations that can actually just calm those situations down.
Yeah.
So what contributes to well-being? We've talked about breathing, we've talked about knowing the stress. What triggers our stress is actually really, really important to know, isn't it?
Yeah, and sometimes it's unavoidable stress. Financial stress, for a lot of people, is totally unavoidable. So it's a matter of how we handle that, or recognise, as I say, recognising to begin with. And I know if I'm getting stressed, I get tight in one shoulder and I can feel it. So I know that I've got to go and calm down.
Yeah.
I know that I don't think clearly when I'm under stress, so I have to go and calm down before I can think clearly. And we did talk about walking around the block and how sometimes you can get that wonderful idea because suddenly you're relaxed and you're not focusing on the issues. For me, it's gardening. I'll go out in the garden and pot away because my hands are busy, my mind's free and I can relax. So it's a good distressor for me.
For families, seeing them out walking around in the weekends, and Henley Lake is such a lovely place to go to. I just love going to Henley Lake. And as a family, we've started walking around even up at Mount Holsworth. Gentle Annie is going to be one of our targets this year as a family, is walk up to Gentle Annie. And then we've done the Wairarapa as well. And that's actually really nice because after our walk, we came out and sat down and actually had a family picnic. So it's actually about looking at things that you can do as family for well-being that doesn't cost the dollar nowadays.
No. And there's an awful lot of things you can do that don't cost. But it's being relaxed enough to think about them too. Yeah. Also, when you're under stress, you don't come up with those solutions. You come up with them when you're relaxed.
Yeah.
So having them in advance is useful. This is what I'm going to do when I start to feel stressed. This is how I'll handle it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really important, at the end of the day, keeping the whole family, yourself. Even, sometimes people that are living by themselves, something might annoy or something. Just that whole survival goes into their brain. So it's just calming themselves down, stopping and thinking before you go and open that door, who's there, is all really important. So also too, just want to talk a bit about Vicky, our sponsor, Francis. Vicky's been fantastic to be able to come on and sponsor us, which is really great to have sponsorship within the organisation.
Absolutely fabulous.
And, Vicky has her own Facebook page, so she has what's actually for sale at the moment up on a Facebook page. And she also has helpful tips about selling houses. And this is when well-being comes in, because it can be quite a stressful time selling a house or buying a house or building.
Very.
You've been through building yourself in the last couple of years?
Selling. And selling a house as well, and Hope and Homes, trying to make the house look tidy, and then taking the kids and the dog out for the afternoon. So, yes, it can be stressful.
And we saw how stressful it was. I don't know how many watched the block last night with those auctions, on how terrible you felt that those three families that are given their time to give us entertainment have walked away with nothing.
Yes.
They've won all this money and they've won room reveals, only now to walk away with nothing after, 12 weeks commitment? That's huge. Apparently there's going to be Give a Little pages coming up for some of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because some of them have actually left jobs to go to there. Some of them have put their jobs on hold for 3 months.
Yes.
And a lot of this is not shown in the programs. We see the entertainment, we see the fights. I was watching
what they want us to focus on.
Yeah. I watched it one night. I was like, if only Lisa did the breathing techniques instead of the flight or fight, survival. And you could just see they were so tired in themselves and how stressed they became, and how things actually escalated very quickly on the block. So I suppose we've got that coming up with Married at First Sight as well. People got their programs that they like watching. I'm not sure about that one yet, but...
No, that doesn't interest me so much. Sorry.
Where I actually enjoy, yesterday I got in, for me to try and calm down and not think about today, I actually got in and did some painting. So we've been running courses down at Men's Shed. So our courses are actually run, and unfortunately our courses down for Men's Shed are booked really fast, and even though we do have them in our brochure, there is times that we actually have courses available, but due to bookings, they're booked out really fast. So we're currently down there at the moment with our youth. So it's called Mum and Me at Men's Shed. Seeing different things being made down there at the moment. So we've had storage boxes. There's gaming stations all been made, right down to actually big shelves. Like there's a young girl down there that's making a big shelf to go in the lounge for mum, and I just think that's an awesome opportunity.
And great that the Men's Shed is allowing this to happen and supporting the group to do that.
It is, and I think the men get a lot out of it. They won't tell you, but they enjoy mentoring, and you've seen the faces and seen on how the mentoring currently at the moment, these young ones, it's just brilliant to see.
Which is interesting because the Men's Shed was set up as a wellbeing lead as well, wasn't it, for men who had just retired.
Exactly.
And had skills but needed an activity.
And I had a father who had Alzheimer's, and I wish then that there was something like that for him, because he used to spend a lot of time in the shed. He had the bloke shed with all the tools and everything like that. So I think it's really important that everybody in the family's well-being is looked after. And, we are very lucky because there is restrictions within the Men's Shed because they do want to keep Men's Shed, like the Women's Institute want to keep it the Women's Institute, those sorts of things. So it's actually really important that the men are not only just attending the Men's Shed, but they're getting back themselves, the great well-being of helping somebody. And we've got a couple of young lads on there that are very quiet, and seeing them come out of themselves and actually start smiling and communicating with their mentor is just fantastic.
It's great, isn't it?
It is great. So tell me, Frances, what happens around you when you're not feeling best? What is your flight or fight? Do you know yourself your own stresses?
I do. I can feel it in my body when I'm getting stressed, and I know if I'm not thinking clearly, I know I need a bit of time out just to chill, move away from wherever, what I was doing to something different, changing activity, garden, get out in the garden if I can, because that will, nobody else wants to go out there, so I'm out there in peace, nice and quietly. And that helps me to clarify my thinking, just clear my head. Maybe you do deep breathing when you're digging and you're lifting stuff and carrying stuff. So, yes.
Yeah, no, there's different ways of doing things. A lot of times, especially with working with a teenager, is we've brought in pause time.
Yes.
It used to be the old time in the corner. Now it's a bit hard to put a 13-and-a-half-year-old in a corner, so it's now pause time. We're just going to pause this conversation and come back to it. And we give it time to when we're going to come back. And it gives us all time to go away, think about things, and then come back. And quite often it's dealt with in a very short amount of time rather than things getting escalated. We can all have our times of fights. Every relationship can have struggles within it, whether it's a mother and son or a husband and wife or even a mother and daughter. Those sorts of things can all have stressful times in them. That it's actually knowing when to actually take time and pause out of it.
So that's part of that is also about knowing yourself too, knowing when you need that time rather than getting to the point where you explode because it's got too big. So it's knowing beforehand, before it gets to that point, hey, I need to take time out. I need to stop and think about this, and just taking that time for yourself. So that's looking after yourself. Yes, it might seem selfish, but you're actually looking after the people around you as well.
And it doesn't need to take a big lot of time, to sit down at the end of a fight and go, okay, what actually caused this? Well, actually, it might have been several things going on through the day, and finally the fight was the final straw, as they say. So where do I need to start thinking about things? How can I take the stress out of my day? And sometimes it's actually just stopping and actually planning a day so you've got that routine.
Yes.
And you know that you're not overloading yourself. Mums are well known for that. They overload themselves big time. When you're in a job situation, the demands of a job can be overloaded, so therefore the pressure goes on. That also goes home to families as well.
And I think that's a good point, that mums do take on too much. Women tend to. We tend to be the people who try to fix everything and smooth the waters all the time, but sometimes it's to the detriment of ourselves, our own well-being.
It is, but the important part is actually women. We've got these different opportunities to be able to do these things. So we've got our Christmas Women's Breakfast coming up in December the 6th, and this is an opportunity for us to get together as women and celebrate. We're actually going to have tickets for sale in November for $20 each. So get your girlfriends together. It's a good chance to come out and just have a good time. We're actually going to have a crazy Christmas hat competition. And there's also going to be a basket at the door for you to give a Christmas treat to the food bank so that they can give it on. So just something food that can be as Christmassy to give on. And we've also got Dress for Success coming to do a fashion parade. It's all going to be fitted in between 7 and 9 a.m. on the 6th of December. It's a great opportunity. We did it for Pink Ribbon Breakfast this year, and it was
lovely.
Wonderful. There we had about 35 women in having breakfast. We had a great time. We enjoyed actually making everything that was there. And so it's a good chance to do that. So it's also really good because we offer it to well-being of people to be able to get together. It's another time of, we go to so many meetings in our world, meeting after meeting, which can be demanding. It can be demanding on your well-being, especially when you've got several meetings in one day. So it's a good chance to get your friends together and get them to come down and actually have breakfast with you.
And a fun time too. I mean, it's early enough that you're not interfering with all the mad rush that happens in December as well.
It's really good.
So that date again was
6th of December.
6th of December.
So so it's a good chance to do that. It's really good to. We're just going to be starting to do this 2 or 3 times a year. With the next one we've got is Easter Mad Hatters. So, it's a good chance to get your friends and say, come on girls, let's just go out. Let's just go and have breakfast. And for $20, it's actually a really good breakfast that you have. I tell you now, we've also already got the Coburn's Christmas pudding logs. Already ordered those. Nice, rich Christmas pudding, a little bit of cream, first thing in the morning. What a way to set you up for work. I know you probably want to go home and have a rest afterwards. It's called mental health, getting everything ready for mental health. Frances, it's been really fantastic talking to you this morning. It's been a great opportunity, and it's great to introduce you as our new chairperson as well. Looking forward to working with Frances for the last 12 months. And Vataselis, that was our current president, or chairperson. She's stayed on the committee, so it's going to be a great committee working together. Isn't it? Yeah. It's going to be a really good committee. So for us, we're just about ready to sign off, but before we do, just remember our sponsor, Vicky Simpson Professional Real Estate. Check out her Facebook and websites. She's always busy with open homes, always busy with new listings. Great selling at the moment. Well done, Vicky. I've watched Vicky actually be a mum and study at the same time, so I know the stresses of what she's been through, and I think she's done extremely well. Also to Mel from Dress for Success, watch out, there'll be something coming out next month on what I'm going to be wearing, so it's really good. And remember, if you need a referral, just give me a call. Remember our own Facebook page of information and events that are coming up. So our Facebook page is Wairarapa Women's Centre, so check that out, like it, and then you'll get to see all the events that come up as well. Now I've got Mike standing here beside me saying, come on, Kim. But we're not quite time to wind up yet. He's given me the shake. So, Francis, one question. What do you get out of helping the community?
Just to show you how well dressed for success I am. All right.
Mike is in a wonderful winter jersey, striped jersey. He's looking very bright today. Please do a twirl.
Actually, you match. Your colours tone in very well.
Now, thanks to this guy here is the reason why we've got into this radio program. And Marina and I are going on to another one very shortly for the community centre. So we're going to be totally radioed out by the end of today. But Francis, it's been really great having you on. And just give one bit of hint of what you can give to a family for who's in stress.
I can offer social work supports which will connect you with organisations in the community, work through plans, whatever it is that people would like to have for themselves. There is a charge, however, it's not too high, and people who are can do it through the disability allowance also. So I can be contacted on, and I've just got to find my new phone number, 022 045 7085.
And do you have a Facebook page as well?
There's a Facebook page for the organisation which I'm also connected to, called Motuoru Development Services, and it's MOTUORU. So you can look that up on the Facebook page, and
And we'll put that up on our Facebook page later on.
That'd be great. Yes, because Donna from there can do loads of services, so there's plenty on offer.
Awesome, that's really fantastic. It's a really great chance to talk to you again, Frances, and it's really good to actually have you listeners out there, but it's also great to have you following us on Facebook. So remember, keep an eye out on Facebook. Marina's sitting here, not only do we have camera sitting in front of us, Marina's sitting here with the camera putting up photos as well. But also you can check us out again on a repeat on Sunday at 1 p.m, or you can go to our FM and go to Inspiring Woman webpage, and you'll find out about what the radio show is, and you'll find out what the Women's Centre do, and you can click on there in about half an hour's time and actually listen to us and watch us as well. So that's a good opportunity. To our FM, thank you for the opportunity. The Wairarapa Women's Centre really thank you for the opportunity. And our stress levels have been definitely high, and our breathing's definitely been in place today. So, Michael, thank you very much. Okay, from the Wairarapa Woman, this is us. We're winding up today. We look forward to seeing you in a month's time. Thank you very much.
Ka kite.